does it look okay?
It does.
Presentation. And I'm clicking through. Okay, cool. Perfect. Yay.
Yay, we're set to go.
Awesome.
I'm just grabbing my coffee, but you can start letting people in if you'd like.
Okay, perfect. All right. I am seeing folks joining. Welcome, everyone.
Hello.
Yay, I see cameras and faces. Wonderful. Happy Friday, everyone.
Yes, 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 yes.
All right, I know we're just right at the top of the hour. I think we can give everyone another minute or so. Libby, does that sound okay?
Yep. Sounds good. Good morning, everybody.
There.
Yeah.
Sign in. I need to sign in.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, looks like we've got a good group going. I'm sure we'll have more join, but good morning and happy Friday to everybody. It's great to see all of you guys. I feel like it's been a little bit, or maybe just a lot going on. It seems like a long time. Anyway, I'm Libby Hoy, founder and CEO of PFCC Partners, and it is my incredible delight today to introduce Brittany Jackson as our new Community Connections Coordinator. I've known Brittany for the better part of 10 years and watched her do amazing work in other organizations. And with Stephen's guidance and Lindsay and Naomi's encouragement, we actually got her on board after many years of effort. So I'm just thrilled for this addition to our team. Brittany's got extreme amount of experience in community organizing and community engagement. And so we really look forward to her impact here on the PFA network. So without further ado, I'll hand it off to you, Britt.
Okay, wonderful. Libby, thank you so much. And it's just such an honor to be here with you all today and to be with PFCC Partners and to get to dive into the role of helping to oversee and support the PFA network. So I'm so excited. We'll dive in just a little bit more about me, but we'll get started here with our presentation. So just really quickly, a couple of helpful Zoom features. So just a reminder that there is chat. You can communicate with us at any time via chat. And then also, if you do need a live transcript, there is also a button for that, as you can see on the screen. Also reaction, so feel free to use the reaction button as well. So again, just a couple helpful Zoom features. If you do need anything, feel free to put in chat, raise your hand, or just come off of mute. We're here. All right, and then we'd love to get started with some agreements. And if you are not familiar with agreements, and even if you are familiar with agreements, we love to really set the tone for our time together and create an intentional, safe space while we're together. And so agreements are a great way to do that. And so there are some really wonderful statements here that we will go through together. And again, it's just a nice way to really set the tone for our meeting and for our time together, the way that we'll sort of be together and how we'll show up for the next hour or a little bit less that we have together. So I will go through these, and as I'm going through, of course, if there are any others, please feel free to, you can chat those in or when we get down there, because we'd love to know if there are any others. But some agreements we have are practice active and empathetic listening and sharing, challenge the idea and not the person, be both teachers and learners, take space and make space, stories stay and lessons leave, use I statements, one person speaks at a time, and then be here now. And that's, again, that being present and intentional with our time together and our space together. So before we move on, I just want to also allow space if there are any others that folks have heard before or utilized before, or any others that you feel might be missing from this list. So I'll pause for just a moment and see if there's anything else that we want to add to our agreements, our space together today. All right.
Fun.
Oh,
Enjoy yourself.
Yes, I love that. Let's enjoy ourselves. Absolutely. All right, wonderful. Well, thank you all. We will go ahead and move forward. Again, if you think of anything else, feel free to put in chat. So again, this is my first event with PFCC Partners. I'm so excited. And so I'm Brittany Jackson. And so let me tell you a little bit about myself and some of my favorite things. You can see several photos here that I will talk through, but I also want to just explain a little bit more about myself and my background and just what has led me to where I am here today with you all. So I am a Colorado native, born and raised. I love the state of Colorado. I love to travel, but I do love Colorado. And so I've lived here all of my life, and I have my parents and then a brother and a sister. I'm the oldest. And so my younger brother, he's the youngest, was actually born very, very premature. And so I spent a good portion of my early years in hospitals. And so I've always just had a connection to healthcare and have just loved healthcare, just being in hospitals, seeing kind of my parents try to navigate the system with him as a sibling, being supportive of that journey and all the things that come along with it. I just have always had that tie to healthcare. And so along my journey of life, I've always kind of felt that pull. And so I am trained more technically through college in education and communication. But I remember having a very distinct conversation with one of my advisors and was like, okay, well, do you want to teach or what do you want to go into? And I was like, well, I really have this pull to be in healthcare. And so I shared a little bit about why. And so I got into the field of healthcare, and then I have gotten into healthcare quality improvement, where I'm able to use my background of communications and education and learning and development in the healthcare field. And so I always feel like it's very important for me to be able to use my skills and my voice to continue to improve the system of healthcare as much as I can. And so that is a little bit about sort of what has led me here. Healthcare quality improvement is just has a very special space in my heart. As Libby said, we have known each other a decade or more. And so I've met and made so many really, really meaningful connections in this work that will last a lifetime. And so I just absolutely love doing this work. I literally couldn't be more thrilled to be able to be here with you all and continue to just spread my own passions and learn from you all. I consider myself a lifelong learner, absolutely. And so I cannot wait to continue to learn from the wealth of experience and knowledge and passion from the network and from the group and from everyone. So I'm so excited. So some photos that you can see here at the top, you'll see my family. So my husband, I have 3 kiddos. My son is the oldest, Joshua. He will be going into senior year in the fall. Then my daughter, Parker, she's our middle, and she's a little firecracker. And the older she gets, the more my family and my mom especially is like, wow, it's like I'm watching you all over again. So that's my girl. And then my youngest, Isaiah, and he's 5 and he's in kindergarten. So never a dull moment with us. They are in all kinds of activities and they keep us going, and they are just the light of my life. And then you can see some of my hobbies here as well. So I have gotten into baking bread. And so actually, at the end of last year, I had a health crisis of my own. I get migraine headaches with aura, so they are pretty bad, really neurological event. And I had a really tough one in December and was actually hospitalized, and it was pretty traumatic. And so from that, it was an experience that really had me take some stock of my life and what I was doing, and stressors and things like that. And so I actually started some stress relieving hobbies, and so baking bread is one of those, as well as you can see on the bottom right all of the yarn. I've also started crocheting a lot as well. So I'm really trying on this journey of doing more of what is meaningful and important and passionate to me. And so that includes my family, that includes making a career change, and being so grateful to come to PFCC Partners and do my passion work, and all of these hobbies. So, and then you can also see in the top right, a recent book I've read, The Women by Kristen Hanna, but I also really love reading. I love audiobooks as well. And so this was a really powerful story, a great book. So, and then you could also see at the bottom, Colorado. As I said, I'm born and raised a Colorado native, which I feel like anymore is kind of rare, but I have been here my whole life. And I just absolutely love Colorado. I love nature. And then as you can see on the bottom towards the left, there is excuse me. Thank you. Just gonna pause for a second and grab some tea. So there's a graphic here that is very common in the community organizing world. And so you can see at the top, the big fish that's kind of, chasing all the little fish. And it just feels like such a big problem or stressor or barrier or things that we're facing. And then towards the bottom, you can see all of the little fish who have come together to organize and to kind of attack that bigger fish, the bigger challenge or the bigger issue or struggle. And so that is really much really about coming together with intentionality, with community organizing. We'll talk a lot more about that through our journey together over time. But I put this here because this graphic is always very near and dear to me about organizing. And then also the bridge on the bottom left is very much, we'll talk about more as well, but the kind of the nightmare to the dream, and how do we build that bridge together from some of the struggles that we've all endured or experiences that we've been through to get to more of that dream state, or how we hope that things can be. So that is the bridge. All right, I have told you a lot about myself. I will pause for just a moment, see if there's anyone that has any questions or anything that you'd like to add right now before we move forward to introductions from the group. All right, wonderful. Okay, so let's move forward to introductions. And I see, let's see, I think we are able to verbally do the introductions, Libby, right? Okay, just double checking. Perfect. So we have name, and then location where you are at, and then what is something that has brought you joy recently. And so I shared a bit about myself, but I didn't answer what is something that has brought me joy recently. I will say some more consistent sunshine. We've had a lot of really cold days still here in Colorado. And so some sunshine so I can get out and start planting some flowers and doing some more gardening. So that has brought me joy. And I will just go around if I can. So let's see, going down my list, Nancy, would you mind sharing next?
I'll try. I'm not getting logged in and I haven't been around recently. I'm in central New Mexico, an hour east of Albuquerque. And I guess that the joy is it's going to be many miles away from me today, a very quiet wedding in Michigan. And then in a year, when the wedding is to be today, in a year, they're going to have a big bash of a 1-year anniversary party and invite all the family to come and party.
Ooh, lovely, Nancy. Well, congratulations for the wedding ceremony today. And I'm sure the party in a year will be absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Nancy. All right, let's see. Emily, would you share next?
Hi, my name is Emily Newberry. I'm in Happy Valley, Oregon. And I actually lost my job in the end of January due to budget constraints, but it's liberated me to become a full-time writer and podcaster on Substack. And I'm just having a wonderful time now that I've gotten familiar with the software, just doing those podcasts. The latest one I did, I read some poetry from a book of a dear friend of mine and just really had a great time with it.
Wow. Well, way to definitely find a silver lining, and how exciting. We will be looking forward to hearing some of those. So we'll talk some about some of our opportunities to connect, and maybe you could share on our PFA Network forum. We'd love to all be able to take a listen. So thank you, Emily. All right, Dorothy, would you mind sharing next?
Well, of course, it's good to see you again.
You too.
Well, I'm Dorothy Winningham, and I'm located here in Barn Air, Georgia. Most people will know Atlanta, Georgia better, but I'm about 20 some miles south of Atlanta. What brought me joy most recently is that I have the funds to move forward in establishing my business. So I'm excited about that. That is something I will be able to share with all of those who will be interested in it as I move forward. Thank you.
Wonderful. That's very exciting, Dorothy. Thank you. All right, Sal, would you mind sharing next?
Sal Lopez. I live in South Lake Tahoe, an hour away from Reno, and I'm flying pretty low right now. My sister just died this week, so um, I said, well, I'll just go ahead and connect, at least occupy an hour, and so yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Well, I'm so sorry to hear that, Sal. I'm glad you were able to take the hour out and come connect, and hopefully we can take your mind off things just for a bit. So thank you for making that decision to be with us today, Sal. We'll be thinking of you and your family.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Karen, would you mind sharing next?
Hi, I'm Karen Fernandez, and I live in Dallas, Texas. And what brought me joy recently is my dear friend brought me some new orchids and a lavender topiary tree, which is just lovely. So that's a first.
Wow, I'm I'm not even sure if I've seen that, Karen. You might
I
have
had never seen one either.
to
Fingers
share.
crossed.
Absolutely. Thank you, Karen. John, would you share next?
Hello, I'm John Krinsky. I live in what's called Canal Winchester, Ohio, which is just southeast of Columbus, Ohio. What's brought me joy recently? Honestly, having conversation with Brittany, and the group brought me a lot of joy. We had a Zoom call and had a really good conversation, and looking forward to more of them and connecting and opening more doors and having good conversation with everybody. Thanks.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, John. We are looking forward to more of the same. So wonderful. Thank you. All right, let's see. Bruce, would you mind sharing?
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm in Bellingham, Washington. For those of you who may not know where that is, it's half an hour from the Canadian border, about an hour and a half north of Seattle. And what brought me joy recently, was visiting with my two sons separately. One is on the West Coast in the Bay Area, who now has a place in Portland. That's about a 5-hour drive. The other's on the East Coast. He came out for a visit. So it was great seeing both of them.
That is wonderful, Bruce. Thank you so much for sharing. Glad you got to have some wonderful family time. Thanks, Bruce. And Brandy, would you mind sharing?
Hi, I am in Metro Atlanta, specifically Lawrenceville, Georgia. And I guess one thing that brought me joy recently, to stay in the same line as the book, I had book club on Monday, and we discussed The Swimmers by Julie Otsuka. And it's not a book that I would have read on my own, but I really enjoy like coming together with the people there and just discussing just different stories and perspectives that people have, or just getting, it's like an art, and I love it. And just being able to discuss, like I said, stories that I wouldn't have heard, or get perspectives that I wouldn't have known otherwise. So that brought me some joy this week.
That's wonderful, Brandy. I feel the same about books and reading, so I'll have to connect with you and keep up with what you're reading.
Sure.
Thanks, Brandy. And Linda, would you mind sharing?
Hey, everybody. I'm Linda Starnes. I'm in Orlando, Florida, the suburbs of Orlando, Florida. And I'm enjoying a storm. I know it sounds crazy, but I love storms. So I'm sitting outside today to get to be around a storm that's going on. But this week is bringing me joy. And it's going to sound goofy and a little self-centered, but it's a week all about me, because it started with Mother's Day last weekend and my birthday is tomorrow. So my family is doing a lot of check-ins and, some fun stuff. And it's kind of fun. This week every year is always coinciding for those two events. So enjoying a little bit of attention for me this time around.
Wonderful, Linda. That is great. Yes, enjoy it all, soak it in, and happy birthday. All right. So excellent. And what a wonderful spot to be able to enjoy a storm. It looks like you have an excellent view right above your head. So perfect. All right, I am looking down my list. I think we have hit everyone except for our PFCC partner team members. So if y'all don't mind just sharing what has brought you joy recently, that would be wonderful. Let's see, Lindsay, you want to go first?
Sure, I'll start. I'm Lindsay. I'm located in Sacramento, California, and I'm happy to share something that brought me joy recently, because I got to watch my son and his baseball team win their playoff game last night. It was such a good game. It was a 16-0 shutout. And my son JJ had a few good hits, and he pitched for an inning, struck out 2 kids. So it was just an overall really fun game to watch. And I'm just so excited to watch them play in the championship tomorrow.
Wonderful. Yay, go JJ, go team. Thank you, Lindsay. Stephen, you mind going next?
Yeah, hey everybody. Stephen Hoy. I'm in Long Beach, California. My team won't be surprised to hear me take this opportunity to brag about my big fish this week. I took the day off on Wednesday for a little morning off for a little mental health fishing adventure with 2 friends, and at the final hour, after being cold all day, we caught a almost 60-pound white sea bass. So we have like thousands of dollars of premier white sea bass seafood to eat this week in the coming weeks. And we're feeling pretty good about that. I love when perseverance pays off.
Absolutely. Wow, that's so awesome, Stephen. Wonderful. All right, Libby, would you mind sharing?
Yes, one thing that gives me joy is when Stephen comes back from these spearfishing trips in one piece. So that's one thing that gives me joy. And another thing that gave me joy this week was also just getting into nature and reconnecting a little bit and being in quiet space. And for the first time in our 40 years of marriage, I caught a fish before my husband did. We were fly fishing and I actually pulled one out of Hot Creek before he did, which is just astounding and has never happened before.
All right. Well, wonderful, Libby. So glad to hear that. All right. Well, thank you all so much. It's been a true treat to get to go through introductions and get to hear your voices, see your faces, and learn a bit more about you all. So thank you all so much.
Sorry, Brittany, did Naomi share?
Oh, Naomi. Thank you, Lindsay, because I'm looking through the pictures are switching. Naomi, please.
Oh, good. I am Naomi. I'm joining y'all from what is Muskogee land or Augusta, Georgia. And two things brought me joy. This one is my bouquet of flowers that I picked from my yard. They're lilies and Gerber daisies, and they make me very happy that they came from my yard. And taking my son to swim practice. He's participating in the Special Olympics, and just seeing how the team cheers each other on. It was just fabulous to see. Thank you.
Thank you, Naomi. So wonderful. We would love to see some video. I can only imagine how special and wonderful that is. And like I said before, I'm going to need to definitely get some gardening tips from you because your flowers are literally the dream. Thank you. All right, double checking here as I'm clicking through screens. Did I miss anyone else? All right, thank you all. So we are going to move forward into some discussion time. So would love to hear from you all, hear your voices as we are talking through a couple of questions. So me being new to this role, and I think we have a couple of new folks, probably some established folks. So would love to hear perspectives from everyone. So when thinking about the PFA network, what is working and what would you like to see more of? So again, thinking about PFA network activities, your time together, what is working? What do you find is working and what would you like to see more of? So I will pause. Again, this is a safe space. It's a lovely group we have here. So feel free to just come off of mute and share. So I'll mute myself for a moment and let anyone feel free to chime in.
This is Emily. One thing, I used to work at Kaiser Permanente in person and family center care, onboarding patient partners as volunteers. And one thing that was always challenging for me is the difficulties that we had in finding ways that could make it easy for the medical and administrative staff to find a time to get the quality exchanges with our patient partners. Things like advisory councils, I think anybody who's been around in this for a while, they just take a lot of time and resources. So what are the ways that we could talk with those folks and say, hey, here's this wonderful resource of patient experience that you could learn from to help improve the way you do things. From your point of view, what needs to happen to make it easy for you to really engage with patient advisors and patient partners? That's on my mind.
Wonderful, Emily. Thank you so much for sharing. And I feel like from what I've learned thus far through preparing our patient and family partners and advisors is really helping once we get those opportunities for you all to be able to partner and really have intentional exchanges with the healthcare system. So thank you for sharing that. Others, what is working? What would you like to see more of? Or what do you enjoy about the PFA network, being a part of the PFA network?
So I'll speak in.
I think,
Oh,
go
sorry.
ahead. No,
Sorry.
go ahead, Linda.
I
Go
was
ahead,
just
Linda.
the thinking about what I enjoy is PFA network, and I think their strongest focus areas are a little different than the daily work that I do. So it helps to keep me informed more broadly, because there are common threads, and it's just nice to hear different perspectives about from the hospital systems level. That seems to be more of what we hear, and more on the adult side than pediatric side. And I work in public health on for children and youth with special healthcare needs. So it just helps keep me informed. Plus I bring that perspective of all of the population that I'm working on behalf of. They are eventually headed into those adult services. So they're coming. But anyway, I've really enjoyed, Libby, how you all open that door wide and make it comfortable for all of us. So that we can learn from those broad and various perspectives.
I really appreciate that, Linda. And I think if I could jump in, Brittany, sorry. I really appreciate that, Linda. And I think what is really so valuable is that it's reciprocal, right? You give us more information about what's going on in the pediatric world, and so that we can start to see those connections. And that's really the network at its best, is us opening space and giving you that larger lens, and all of you bringing in your passions and your experience and knowledge into the network for others to take on. So thanks. We appreciate you too.
Absolutely. John? Yep.
I was going to say, do you want me to go next? Well, a couple of things. One, in regard to what Emily was just stating. One of the things that I've found from where I'm at is the recruiting into a PFAC it seems to be a real difficult thing from what I've seen, of them being able to get the right people motivated enough on these councils, and then the interaction and ideas, and getting the administration to buy in, and trying to get that communication between patients and what the council's doing and how to make things better. They're just, I don't know. I'm finding that there's a lot of gray area there. The other thing is communication between all of us and letting each other know what we're involved in. I know I've had conversation with Brandy about some of the other organizations that I'm involved in or get webinars from, and it's just trying to kind of build a base of what each of us are doing in this platform or in this area of the healthcare, and what I may be involved in might spark an interest in somebody else getting involved in it. So it's just keeping the lines of communication open, even beyond our meetings together as a group. That's all.
That's wonderful, John. Yes, thank you so much. And we will talk a bit more at the end of this meeting about our forums and other ways that we can connect for just that very reason, to find out what each other's doing, like you said, sparking interest and all of that. So that is definitely a function of our network. So very excited about that. Thank you for mentioning. Karen, I see your hand is up. Feel free.
Hi, thank you. And I'm going to apologize if you hear some weird noises.
No
Woody
worries.
the woodpecker has joined me in the office window, which he does every day. Oh my gosh, I feel bad for the poor thing. He's not getting enough to eat. What I really enjoy about this patient and family association and partners is getting to know the other patients and families and hearing their perspectives. It kind of opens my mind to other things, and that we're not alone. We may have different stories, but we're not alone.
Thank you so much, Karen, all about building those connections, building that sense of community. So I'm glad that you feel that. Bruce, I see your hand up as well. Feel free to jump in.
Yeah, this is, I think it's my first time to a cafe. Been looking forward to it. So I don't know, I don't have anything to contribute in terms of what's working or what to even expect. But I do know what I'm working on right now, or an interest that I have, and I'm curious how this group might be able to support it, which is I serve on several different volunteer capacities at a local hospital and medical group. And one of them is an ACO, it's an accountable care organization. I'm on the governing board. And something came up in a report about patient-centric care. And I asked the question, so there's a difference between patient-centered care and patient-centric care. And in my mind, patient-centric care is much more of a team orientation toward how we serve the patients. Is there a model? Are you using a model? Are the people aware that they're part of this system or part of this approach? And the answer was no, we're doing it more in spirit. We don't have a model. And one of the things I'd like to do from our PFAC is to look at how we may be able to bring that model to the organization so that it can be more system-based. And I'm wondering, is this a forum where we can explore those kind of things, or where we can bring things like that up and get support? I'm not exactly sure what the purpose of the cafe is, but that's my interest.
Wonderful. Thank you, Bruce. So I would say, yes, I think that whether it be through our coffee chats or in a different way that we're connecting, I think that is a perfect opportunity for the network to be able to come together as thought partners and help support you in your pre-established roles. But also, I think it would also just be a wonderful activity, if you will, to talk through those things for everyone across the country in their different states that are working in the same way. So we'll definitely add that to the list. Each month, we'll have different topics and different things we think about and talk about and discuss. So yep, I'm really glad you raised that, Bruce. Thank you.
And if I could jump in, Brittany, Bruce, I love the way that you're thinking about this, because infrastructure is so important in these efforts, because a lot of people have the will and the interest and the intention, but having a framework really brings it to action. So we're currently working in LA County on bringing patient-family engaged care, patient-family centered care to an ACO model as well. So happy to connect with you on that. But these are exactly the kinds of questions. If you feel like you have that need, chances are pretty good somebody else in the network has that need as well. So I appreciate you speaking to that. And I'm going to drop a framework in the chat for you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Libby and Bruce and others. As you can see, generally, if you bring something up, the answers are often in the room. So it's wonderful to be able to come and connect. All right, we have a couple discussion questions, so I'm going to move us forward to our next question. Again, if you have anything that comes to mind or comes up, feel free to drop it in chat. But I'm going to move us, hopefully, there we go, to our next question. And I think we're already getting started on this one just a bit. So what direction should we be headed in? And then do you have suggestions for skills development activities? So again, another function of our PFA network and opportunities that you all have are around skills development. So are there certain areas that you personally would like to develop your skills or think would be good for the group? So think about this question, and I'll pause for another moment, let you all think, and then feel free to jump in with responses to this question, or these questions rather. And it's okay to sit and think about this some. As I mentioned, this is something that I can also pose on our forum so that we can continue to think about what direction we want to be headed in. I know we heard a little bit about some resources for patient experience, or if there are certain topic areas or sort of diagnoses or different things in the landscape that you're thinking of, feel free to share any of those. And if we don't have any thoughts right now, that is fine as well. Would love for y'all to continue to marinate on it. But I'll give it just a few more seconds to see if y'all have thoughts on directions that you'd like to see us head in.
When you're saying skills development, what are you talking about? Like learning how to be empathetic, telling your story, that type of thing. I think sometimes when you get groups like this together, there's some nervousness, some anxiety, because we don't talk that often. So, I mean, are those the areas that you're talking about?
Yes, those are certainly areas. Naomi actually is, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes as well, but has a wonderful opportunity coming up around storytelling and being able to, going through some I won't say the word training. What's the word I'm looking for? Not training,
Skills
but
exchange.
yes, skills exchanges. Yes, to be able to, um, better develop your story. And like you said, John, sometimes folks don't feel comfortable speaking up in certain forums. So I think that's something that we can dive into and explore. So if there are certain things that you feel like, as you're in your own landscape and wanting to better partner, that you're like, man, I would love if I was, had this skill or was a little bit stronger on this. I think those are opportunities that we can bring to this group, and we can try our best as a team to help you all develop that to feel more confident and comfortable.
Well, and it's a lot easier to work as a team than it is as a single individual. And I know you and I discussed this, when we had our private conversation, but the big thing is numbers speak a lot deeper. Having a lot of people or a group behind what your thoughts are. So maybe it comes down to developing a plan of action of topics that we can address over a certain amount of time. And we, as the team, can research these areas and join you as associate team members in making a bigger impact on the topic. Just a thought.
Mhm. I like that. And sorry, just to add a little bit more context to the skills development. And I really appreciate that, John, and I think it speaks to, Brittany's expertise in community organizing too. But on the skills development or skills exchange, as we like to call it, we do have a handful of skills exchanges that we've offered over the years. One's the core competencies of effective partners. We have preparing for partnerships. So if you're going to speak at a conference, what are some things you need to do to prepare? We have a measurement basics for patient family partners, and I see there's some interest in that too. So maybe that's something we want to bring back, and then a quality improvement basics for patient family partners too. So those are some of the things that are already existing that we can bring back to the community if it's of interest, and then again open to other areas within the healthcare field or in your patient family partnership journey to help you continue to grow.
Wonderful, Lindsay. Thank you so much for reminding me and sharing that. All right, Brandy, I see your hand up.
I had to step away for a second, so hopefully I'm not saying something that someone already said. Well, first, just to go back to what Lindsay just said, just thinking about what John said, that it brought up the measurement one. That was one of the things I was going to say, just in connection to what he just brought up, is like, making sure people are comfortable using evaluation data or knowing how to talk about numbers and statistics and how to know when they are getting things that are like kind of accurate and appropriate statistics and how they're being used versus like, inflated, or like the sources where they're getting information. I know that's one of my things that I do in my daytime. So it's like, I know it's all numbers are not good numbers. All stats are not meaningful or should be used. So just making sure people understand that. But what I originally raised my hand for, that I'm not sure if someone else had said, because like I said, I was coming right back in, so I wasn't sure about this, is also maybe some skills building around how to communicate with different populations. I know I bring this up a lot, but around like the disability community, and just knowing like how to communicate with people who may have different like communication or barriers, as far as whether it's hearing or it's a learning disability, autism, all types of different, just being able to feel comfortable communicating with people, meeting them where they are and being able to communicate with them no matter what level they're at or what they might be experiencing.
Thank you, Brandy. That is wonderful. Thank you so much. A great couple of suggestions. Thank you. Linda, I see your hand up as well.
Well, so Brandy kind of filtered into some of the area of my domain, both from our personal family perspective as well as the work perspective, but just taking it a little bit further of not only how to, communication styles that different folks may use, to include using assistive technology like my son, but also the awareness of disability justice issues and ableism, and the understanding around all of that concept of language and the most respectful and current language that is used regarding those with disabilities of various kinds. And, the fact that language evolves constantly, and it has in regard to speaking about disability as well. And just that's a really, for me, stays very current because of the high level of disability bias within the healthcare community. And there's been a lot of research and recent writing about that, and that the aspect of disability is an health equity issue that the NIH finally came out with either late last year or early this year, I'm forgetting now, recognizing those with disabilities, that they live with health inequity surrounding them. So just it's a big bucket, but adding to, thank you, Brandy, for bringing that up, making me think about that.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Linda, for sharing. I believe that we will be collectively over the next couple of months looking to do some special topics. And I know that it sounds like a lot of what is mentioned here I can see being featured there. So more to come, absolutely. But thank you all for sharing. All right, one more question. I'm going to move us forward in the interest of time to make sure that we can get to everything. All right, so what are our opportunities for improvement? So thinking about our PFA network, you can see the wonderful funfetti cake here. How can we continue to make sure that we are building in the patient and family partnership and voices and adding more sprinkles to the cake? So how can we improve, or what are some of our opportunities? So any thoughts there?
Send the cake to me.
To me too, John. Absolutely.
This cake, you can order it, milkbar.com. I get it every year for my husband's birthday. He loves funfetti cake. It is the best funfetti cake ever.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
And we
It's
should
so
be getting
good.
a kickback from Milk Bar.
Yes.
But we're not.
My fault.
No, it's so good.
No, not at all. We love cake, as you can see. And so, yes, please add those. Jump in anytime, John. Emily, I see your hand up. Feel free to jump in.
Mine is more of a question thought than, which is, I'm just wondering, what can PFCC partners in PFA network do to help a wider array of patients understand the value that the organization brings and why it would be their interest to participate? What, are there any barriers for them? Like, oh, I just don't, it sounds like a good idea, but I don't have a lot of time. Well, could we find out from them, well, what would be ways that you might be open to engaging, and how much time would you be able to, asking, are there ways to engage people where we can learn that, so that I think that this network needs to be wider and wider than it is. And I'm not on the inside like you all are, so I don't know what some of the barriers we're up against, but that's something that's interesting to me.
Here's a couple of thoughts to add on to that. There's the Certification Board for Patient Advisors. Can we get some information on the organization to them to see if the certified patient advisors or advocacy people can become part of the organization and become a stronger voice, not only to the people that they're working with, but, for their own knowledge. The other thing is, can we get information out to the PFAC councils at hospitals to make them aware of the organization? Because I think there's a lot of organizations out there. The key is, how do you get in line or become top of the mind awareness to these people? Well, maybe it's getting contacts or having us do research and get contacts in our own area of patient family advisory councils and letting them know about the organization and what we're trying to do. But that's a great thoughts, and maybe that's a direction that we can do jointly, like I was saying before. Thanks.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, John. Yep, Linda, go ahead. Feel free to jump in.
And I'll tag in as well, similar to kind of what you see for large national conferences, and they'll put out information and or a letter or whatever that one can utilize to prove the reasons for why they should be allowed to go to this conference. If they were petitioning to their superior, their boss or supervisor or whatever, to be allowed to attend a conference. And I'm forgetting the phrase that's used for those letters that conferences will put forward, but it's justifications and reasons for being a part of a conference event or attending a conference. And so it kind of thinking, if you all may have it and I'm just forgetting that if there's something like that that's been put together, because for me, I had to, in the early going, kind of convince my supervisor this was worthy time for me, that I did gain from this organization and being involved in these conversations and learning, from the different skills building opportunities, etc., that this was worthy spending of my time during the workday. And we since have done my organization did a presentation a couple of years ago with you guys because of that. But it's especially because I'm more tangential to being in a hospital system on a PFAC, that it took a little bit of building their understanding to the value of the PFA network and the PFCC. So anyway, that may be putting something together that helps people take that forward if they so need that.
Thank you, Linda and John and Emily. I think a lot of what you all shared kind of goes together, and I will make sure to connect with the team. I know there are many ways that the network and PFCC partners, I know there is a lot of really wonderful language, and I hear what you're saying. Can we have something kind of tangible that we can give to other groups or, our own organization? So thank you for sharing, Libby. I see you're off of mute, so I'll also punt it over to you.
Thank you. I just wanted to connect the dots a little bit on although we all love cake, the reason you have Funfetti is that the PFCC Partners as an organization works towards the Funfetti approach to patient-family engagement, in that we bake in patient engagement into the operations of whether it's a hospital or a health system or measure development team or research team or whomever else. We want to see it baked in nationally, more locally, and across all activities. So that's kind of the analogy of the Funfetti cake is our approach to patient engagement. We don't sprinkle it on top. We don't say, yeah, that's a great thing, or we don't like that, but we really just bake it in. And the thing that makes a Funfetti cake really tasty is all the different colors and all the different flavors. So we try to be as inclusive as we possibly can. So I just wanted to explain why we're showing cakes.
Thank you, Libby.
You can still send me the cake.
Noted.
Thank you. Okay, thank you all. So these were really helpful. We will continue these on. Our coffee chats are each month. We'll have one next month, and we can continue the conversation based on a lot of feedback that we've heard here. So time flies when you're having fun. We have just a few minutes, and I want to be sure that I am respectful of everyone's time, and we have some really wonderful engagement opportunities. So if I can, there we go, get the slides moving. And as always, if other things come to mind, of course, right now you can drop them in chat, but you could also send an email. And so don't worry if you feel like something you weren't able to share, or if something comes to mind, please continue to let us know. All right, so engagement opportunities. We have a couple here. So this one is newer. It's a community catalyst soapbox opportunity. And so this is a wonderful opportunity to submit a video. So you would take a video and you would share a submission. There are 2 questions. And so some of you may have heard of the Inspire project. So, and that stands for Initiating National Strategies for Partnership, Inclusion, and Real Engagement. And so that is a project that PFCC Partners is a part of, and Community Catalyst, as you see here, is another partner. And so this is a wonderful opportunity to be able to share your story. So again, there are 2 questions. Question 1 is reflecting on your own experiences with community engagement and partnership projects. What factors contributed to the ability or inability to make an impact? So that's question 1. And then there's question 2, how can healthcare organizations build meaningful partnerships with community members and people with lived experience? So again, this is an opportunity where you're able to, if you want to submit both, I'm sure that's fine, but you can pick question 1 or 2. There are links there, and then you can work on that submission. And as always, if you have further questions about this one or any of the ones we'll discuss, feel free to reach out to us and we can talk through it a bit more. All right, and then this is the one that I was sharing earlier, very exciting coming up, that our own Naomi Williams is going to be helping lead. And so this is from story to strategy. And this is going to be a wonderful skills exchange. And so this will be a 3-session skills exchange series starting in June. So June 11th, 18th, and 25th. There is a registration link that we will drop in, but there's also a flyer, so you'll get more information. But this is, I had a chance to sit in on just a very early prep session, and I myself am so excited to find out more about utilizing your personal experiences and story to help make meaningful change and for strategy. So very excited about this one. Naomi, is there anything additional you'd like to say about this? Well, I'm so grateful to have you on as I'm talking about it.
So glad to be here, and thank you for sharing. It just seems it goes along with some of the things that were dropped into the chat for those who have participated in the core competencies of being an effective partner. if you've attended that, we touch on telling your story and have the My Story template. And this is actually taking it deeper. And for those who are familiar with Barbara Kivowitz, she and I will actually be co-facilitating. She is a patient family partner and a part of the PFA network as well. So register. You just want to make sure that you're able to attend all 3 sessions because they build on the next one builds on the previous session. It's going to be powerful, and we're looking forward to sharing stories.
Wonderful, Naomi. Thank you so much. All right. And then we have improving communication in the intensive care or ICU unit together. Libby, do you want to speak to this one?
Yes, we are having a webinar. So this is a PCORI funded engagement award that we have been co-leading with our friends at Kaiser South Bay and LA County Department of Health Services. And so we've had some really amazing events and collaboration within a research group community that really is very, very representative. So we're wanting to bring those learnings forward in this webinar. So, and just invite you all to come on in and listen in and really learn with us as we continue to improve a specific intervention tool for improving communication in the intensive care unit.
Wonderful. Thank you, Libby. And there should be, I'm sorry, I am sharing this slide, so I can't see chat. But there's
okay. I'm dropping them in.
So yes, everyone feel free to look to chat for links. And then I believe this is our last engagement opportunity in the slide deck right now. And this is a carryover from last month. So it may look familiar, but we wanted to still remind you all of it for the Stanford Medicine Chemo-Induced Neuropathy Focus Group. So this is a chance to be a part of this focus group, and it looks like it's an interview. So if you have questions about this particular one, I believe you will email the study group. So we wanted to just share this opportunity that the Stanford Cancer Institute is doing and inviting individuals to participate in a 45-minute one-to-one interview or a 90-minute group discussion. So again, feel free to take a look at the links. And this is another opportunity for y'all. All right, so we are at time. So we've had some really wonderful discussion today. I want to carry this slide over for our next coffee chat. We'll talk more about our forums and collective engagement, how we can increase our activity there. So I'm going to be posting some things, and hopefully I can get some of y'all engaging with me on there. So we'll work on it throughout the next month, and then next month we'll talk about it. So we'll come back to this. And then if you have a topic or project that you'd like to share with the network, you can fill out the interest form and we will be in touch. And then lastly, please refer a friend. I know we talked about, spreading the network and all of the wonderful work that is going on. So feel free to tell your friends or colleagues, anything like that. So there is a PFA network membership survey that we would love if you all on the call haven't taken that and just given us some more information, please do. But you can share that as well. So we'd love if you would refer a friend. All right, I apologize for keeping y'all a couple minutes over. I will work on this for the next time, make sure we stick to time, but I really appreciate everyone speaking up. It was so wonderful to get to meet you all, have my first coffee chat with you all, and I'm so excited and looking forward to the work that we'll be able to do together. So thank you all.
We're glad you're here, Brittany.
Thank you. I am so glad to be here.
Glad you're here, and Sal,
yes,
keep up the strength. I know you don't know me, but I'm so sorry for your loss.
thank you.
Really. Lots of hugs.
Absolutely, Sal. Yes, we are sending you love. All right, everyone.
Brittany, wonderful job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Libby. Take care, everyone. We will talk
care.
soon. Reach out if you need.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.